Hello, guys. We are back. The Delegate Wranglers live show is back with you after a hiatus of about 2.5 months. You will have noticed a slight difference. It's just me. Dom has decided to go down the pub. That's his choice. He can do whatever he wants. But don't worry, guys. I'm here for you. I'll be here hosting the show as normal. No, on a serious matter, Dom has got some very serious internet problems that just actually happened this morning. You won't believe that. Been off for 2.5 months. It's the first time he has a problem is today. So he's not able to join us, but he is in the chat room, I've been told. So feel free to give him some abuse. That will be very helpful. So we're back. We've got a tremendous lineup of shows coming up. I'm very pleased to be announcing that this season, the full season of 8 shows, is going to be sponsored by Melia Hotels International and Inside by Melia Hotels. We're really delighted to have them on board, and hopefully along the way as well, we're going to show you a little bit of information about them each week so that you can pick up some more information. And just to kick it off, we actually caught up with Scott Brown from Inside by Melia North, the kind of director of cluster sales there. This week in their Liverpool, their brand new shiny Liverpool hotel. So we're just going to run you this quick message to where we asked Scott what was coming up on the show.
My name is Scott Brown. I'm the Area Director of Sales UK North for Melia Hotels. We're currently in the Sky Bar, the Gino De Campo 360 Sky Bar here at Inside Liverpool. We're absolutely delighted to be sponsoring Season 5 DW Live for the next 8 weeks. It's a kind of a bit of a joint venture with our parent brand Melia Hotels International and ourselves as Inside by Melia UK North. And over the next 8 weeks we'll be giving little snippets within DW Live about the Inside UK North hotels in Manchester, Newcastle and Liverpool. The Inside brand is Melia's fastest growing brand, now over 40 hotels globally in every different territory. It's a lifestyle brand, but importantly, an accessible lifestyle brand. You know, whether that's an accessible price point, accessible service level. It's a fun brand. It likes to offer a little bit of something for everybody. And Melia, traditionally as a leisure brand, wanted a brand that was a little bit more urban, a little bit more city centre, and that's generally what you find with the Inside hotels. It's bringing something different, and it's really resonating with the local. We don't want to be the kind of cookie cutter corporate hotel that's the same in every city and offers the same product and the same feel. We want to represent the city, but in a cool lifestyle way. So we have an art gallery, a local art gallery that curates the art in our meeting and event space, changes it quarterly. So it's always something different. We partner our food and beverage with the Gino De Campo team. So again, it's just that different level of food and beverage offering. And that's not just in the restaurant or the Sky Bar where we are here that has these amazing 360 views of Liverpool with the Mersey in the background, the cathedral and the city sights on the other side, the football stadiums in the distance. There's some great growth in the Asia market, for instance, as well as a number of other regions for new hotels. We've just seen Inside Amsterdam open, Inside Luxembourg, so there's been a number of new openings. Very excitingly as well, Me Madrid opened recently. We also saw 2 new sort of brands, I suppose, with the Melia collection and affiliated by Melia, whereby new hotels are kind of coming into our portfolio. Good one. I think I've got 2 words.
Well, big thank you to Scott there. I'm really excited to hear more of what those guys are going to have to show. Scott and Kathy Joyce also are going to be running us through a lot of stuff, what's happening for their brand next year. And as I say, we're really delighted to have them as season sponsors. So on to today. First of all, as usual, guys, we are live on Facebook on the Delegate Wranglers Facebook group. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn Live. Don't forget to follow us on any of our social media channels. You'll see all the buttons on the side there. Please just search on the Delegate Wranglers on any of them and you'll find us, unless somebody's copying our name again. Yeah, we're really delighted to be back, and we have got a fantastic show today. I am so happy to be joined by my good friend, an amazing person, Joe Austin, who is the sales director for Line Venue Portfolio. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Hi, I'm really good. Thanks, Neil. How's you?
Yeah, really good, really good. Joe's calling from the east wing of her house there, the library. You'll see it's quite a subtle house she lives in. Where are you, Joe, today? Where are you calling us from?
Sadly, this isn't my library or my house. I'm at the absolutely fabulous Milton Hill House venue, which is part of our venues collection, which is obviously part of Line Venue Portfolio. So sitting in Abingdon in Oxford in the glorious grounds, although I can't see very much, it's incredibly foggy here today, but it's great to be with you all from Milton Hill House.
Oh, what an amazing setting. So, Joe, I know today we're going to be talking about, you're going to be giving us a masterclass on sustainable F&B. Now, I know that I came to to an event that you put on at the meeting show, which was amazing, that Line Venue put on, was the future of food and also the launch of the Meetings for Change program, which was an amazing event. I mean, it was straight after day one. And we had some amazing food that was all like really sustainable. We had some really good things from the people who were there. It was fantastic. So I'm delighted to be hearing more about this. Do you want to tell us a bit about, just your role and also what you're going to be talking to us about today?
Yeah, absolutely. So my role is sales director for Line Venue Portfolio, which is the largest portfolio of venues in the UK currently. And we are part of the Compass UK and Ireland group, where obviously food is at the heart of everything. Whilst I'm sales director for Line Venue Portfolio, really not to do today. This is a masterclass. I will be talking about Meetings for Change, our initiative around how we can massively, positively impact the meetings, conference and events industry through food. But I think today what I'm going to focus on is actually our journey of how we've got there, and share some of those insights with everybody today.
Yeah, fantastic, Joe. Really looking forward to it. Do you want to, where do we start with this? Because obviously I know this is something you're really hugely passionate about. And, I know we've had some commenting already. Yeah, we've had some commenting from people already, telling us how they're really looking forward to this and learning some of the things that you guys, because you're a massive supporter of this, and you've really got some work done on it already, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you could just skip to slide 2 for me, Callum, that'd be great. So yeah, I think it's really, really important to recognise that diet and therefore food is probably the single biggest way to reduce the impact on the planet Earth today. So this is a very important quote from Joseph, but it's really just around the fact that food, everybody can impact the current situation we're in through food. And I think it's really quite important to bear that in mind. I think we're very fortunate in meetings, conference and events because we touch and feel an awful lot of industries, a lot of sectors. In any of our venues at any given point, we're looking after different sectors from different areas, etc. But the one thing they actually have in common when they get into our venues is actually how they buy the venue, how they choose the venue, and then actually what happens when they actually get into the venue. We know from Line Venue Portfolio that food is one of the single biggest things that people talk about at events, and therefore it was really important for us at Line Venue Portfolio to recognise how we can actually impact this current climate challenge through the prism of food. So, next slide, please, Callum. And I think the single biggest thing that I've encountered on my journey through this, and I need to kind of set out at this point that I'm not an eco warrior. I'm not somebody who actually kind of has been madly passionate about this for years upon years upon years. It just hit me a couple of years ago, and I'm lucky enough to be part of a great organisation in terms of Compass that actually has real ambitions around this area. But it actually made me realise some of the things that I was being educated on through work, made me realise that we absolutely, this is, our planet is in crisis now. It is the biggest issue to affect us for generations. It's the most important subject in the world today. And, we've been lucky enough at Compass to be involved in COP26, which, globally was recognised and it was the biggest climate change conference across the planet. And some of the actions and activities that have come out of that, I think, are going to be resonating for quite some time. And we're really pioneering that within our organisation, having fed those delegates for the whole of the 2-week event up in Glasgow. So I think it's really important, for people to understand that you don't have to have desperately massive knowledge about every single area of sustainability and to actually make an impact. And I think they're huge messages that we really need to work on.
Joe, I was just going to say we've had a comment from Matthew at High Five Events. Hello. By the way, everybody, please feel free to send in your comments or questions for me or Joe. Remember, hard ones for Joe, easy ones for me, the usual thing. But Matthew from High Five Events has said, excited to hear some tips from Joe. We need to keep the momentum from COP26 going, despite COVID and everything else. Every little step can help us to be a bit kinder to our planet. I think that's something you echo, Joe, and I guess a lot of people watching this will as well.
Absolutely. And also, I think it's also personally, we can all take some responsibility for this as well. So we can all do little things in our worlds, and that's at home as well as at work. Eco-anxiety is massive, and it is human nature when we're given lots and lots of choices that we often choose none. I think kind of trying to see through some of the issues that are, this whole lots and lots of information being thrown at us from lots and lots of areas. I think it's really important to kind of find the things that you are comfortable in, making a difference within in your world. I think working together, this is where we can absolutely make a difference. I think our journey from Line Venue Portfolio was just that. It was actually trying to understand what was important and what our venues could deliver, but more importantly, what our customers were asking us for and if we could deliver that. But I think there's a really big disconnect still, and we're still seeing this today, Neil, that the disconnect between an event organiser and actually the people who then turn up for the event is still a massive area for us to absolutely work on. Our journey throughout all this has been to tackle the sustainability agenda from different hot topics around the subject, and try and cut through some of the noise to give specific and really valuable information to customers, organisers, agents in this arena. And if we can just quickly look at slide 4 for me, Callum, that's
Joe, as well. I'll just jump in there, Joe. I've just activated a poll as well, guys, that should come up on your screen in a second, to just ask like that very question you were talking about, that disconnect between, yourselves as organisers and your clients. So the question was, is working with a sustainable venue important to you and your clients these days? So it'd be great to get a bit of feedback from you guys on that, to get a bit of a temperature on it, I guess, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all could do with that, really, because there's a lot of noise at different levels. But ultimately, we need people who are organising events to be on the same page as us in terms of this. And we need to understand if some of the things that we're working on are actually really important and valid for end users, and whether there is an appetite for doing things right. I think a lot of the feedback that we're getting at work right now is that it is. that people are looking for partners that can actually help them. That actually they realise potentially they don't have to be an expert themselves if they choose the right partner. But I think, like I say, we divided the sustainability issue up into a few key areas, and over the last 2 years have been running our reports around that. So, we started out looking at fear of running out, FORO, as the first of our Beyond Food reports, and there's some really valuable information in terms of that. The QR codes are available, guys, so please do feel free to download this information, and there is lots and lots of information on each of these topics. But fear of running out is a really big one. I mean, food waste is very important to an awful lot of people, but it's probably the one where singly we can all work together on. If we work from communication through initial show rounds, through menu choices, through then delegate communications, setting a scene, that tells your delegates before they get there that, you have an ambition to have no waste from your event as an organizer, not a venue deciding we don't want you to have waste, but you as an organizer choosing that you would like your event to have no waste after it. And that sets a scene. 200 people will all be incredibly well fed, but actually the choice at the end of service will probably not be quite as much as the choice at beginning of service, because we can't do that and have no food waste. Managing portion control for delegates. COVID did quite a lot of positive things around some of these areas. So when we couldn't have buffets, as we actually recognise as is the way in which we serve and work in conference meetings and events, and we had to have portion control. We actually had to serve delegates in bento boxes, and we looked at other creative ways. All of a sudden, our food waste was really, really massively improved, as was portion control and actual, looking after health and well-being of for our customers as well. So, through that we've actually learned quite a lot. So, but the main, and through COVID, that wasn't an issue. Our delegates who arrived at any of our venues expected that to be the way of food service because of the situation we were in. So, and actually the feedback we got from that was actually really very positive. So is that probably the way forward?
Joe, I was just going to say as well, as a former event organizer myself, the big paranoia for all event managers and clients is to not have enough food for your group, especially over lunch. Yeah. But I think the thinking might have slightly changed now. I think it's a little bit more, a bit more understanding that you might not have that choice. At the end there might be some stuff that's gone, and there's not another tray full to come out. And people might see the benefits of that as a good thing rather than of not having the choice, and kind of, as long as you can feed somebody, I guess. But it is a balance, isn't it? It's a tricky one to get right.
Oh, good. Yeah, and it is every event organiser's nightmare, that, isn't it? But again, setting a scene prior to arrival is where we can all work together on that. As like we're sort of saying, in terms of sharing best practice and good information, making sure that your delegation before they actually arrive at the venue, we're very good at telling them how to get there. We're telling them where to park the cars. We're telling them which entrance to go at. There's actually no harm in explaining what we're trying to achieve through the food at the event. And I think that's really quite important. And we're really trying to help our customers with that and advising them. And that actually goes for the rise of like the plant-based diet as well, because our plant-based menus have really come on. They're creative, they're great, they're healthy, they're nutritious, but they actually also take a huge net zero promise as well. So, we're really working towards animal protein not being the hero on our menus, but delivering absolutely terrific food. It isn't the same anymore when people go, at a great gala dinner and we go around the table saying, who's the vegetarian around here? We don't want, that shouldn't be the way it is anymore. We should the menu should be suitable for absolutely everybody. That doesn't mean we've eliminated animal protein from our menus. Absolutely not. We're all about ethically sourcing. We're all about good husbandry and responsible sourcing for for great meat as well as we are for plant-based diets. So, they are on our menu, and we're incredibly client-led on that. If our customers actually want that, I think what we've just got to do is kind of do a little bit of support and help and education in terms of it doesn't always, just because it's always been like that, it doesn't mean it actually always has to be like that. So, and often the reason people choose those menus is because there's, back to the kind of comment I made earlier, when there is so much choice, we often are really struggling to make a choice. So I think there's lots of things, in Britain, seasonal, in season, not actually, we've, at Compass this week across the UK, we've banned air freight. We've been doing that for a wee while in many of our venues, but that means utilising and making really good use of great local produce and doing great things with it. Our island has an awful lot of produce, and we can do some terrific things with it without actually flying in products from across the globe.
Joe, got a couple of, just wanted to jump in. I couldn't agree with you more about that as well. And, banning the air freight and stuff is really to be applauded as well. I really agree with you on that one. So a couple of comments. We've had Jan Denning. Hi, Jan. I'll give a quick shout out to the chat rooms in a second, guys. But Jan said, I agree. Sustainability is something we want to all get behind, but there is a lack of understanding. So working alongside specialists helps start that journey and get some achievable policies and processes in place. That's a great comment, John. And then Jan, and then from your small biz coach and sustainability consultant on on YouTube, useful insight shared by Joe, as well as recognizing how best to use their expertise. And then a question, in respect of clients' interest on sustainability, is this primarily from corporates, or are you seeing it from SMEs as well, or not?
It's a really good question. We're seeing it from associations, from charities, as well as big corporate clients, and in particular, a lot of the agents who are working on behalf of their clients. So I think this is something that is actually on everybody's agenda. We're even in our business, we're even noticing that wedding enquiries are actually asking us if we do things sustainably
really?
and things like that.
Wow.
Because if it's high on your agenda in your corporate life and you're passionate about it, why wouldn't you make that work in your private life as well? So I think it is something that is absolutely here to stay, and it's really interesting to see the level of interest around certain topics. Yeah.
I think, Joe, we've got to move as well. I'm sure we're going to talk about this later, but we've got to move from box ticking to being passionate about it, to being passionate, if you understand what I mean. Because, certainly in the past, it would have been a box ticking exercise. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to cover this. But now I think we're finding that more and more people are actually passionate about it. It's not just ticking that box. Yeah.
Absolutely. When we launched our Meetings for Change product, which basically is a 5-point charter around every single meeting that happens within a Lime Venue portfolio venue, we were absolutely blown away by the interest that we actually had from customers around it. And this is the start of our journey. This will grow and this will develop as we get more sophisticated in this arena, and we can actually help our customers and our clients even more so as we move forward. But just simple things, 80% plant-based diets on our Meetings for Change menus, how we sustainably and reliably source produce. So Red Tractor, our eggs are all sourced correctly. All those things are really massively important. And then British produce. Local produce and air freight, banning air freight, etc. These are fundamental things that instantly can make a massive difference. And it's small steps, but if in our industry, this sector is massive, it impacts and touches a lot of other sectors. And if we can do this across the whole of the UK, we can absolutely make a difference. In Lime Venue portfolio, with over 80 venues in the portfolio, with the length and breadth of the UK and the business that we actually look after, we can use our scale to absolutely work with our customers to make a difference. And I think this is where we can all work together on this. I don't think our customers all need to be experts. And a really key message here is just choose your partners well. A good partner, a good venue, a good event manager, these people will absolutely help you on your journey if they realise that's part of the objectives of the event. And that's a very, very key message, is choose your partner well. And I know that, if you choose a line venue portfolio, I feel very, very comfortable that we've covered an awful lot at the start of this sustainability journey. We've got a long way to go. But actually, we're at the very start of this. But ultimately, we're making a difference already. If we get 65,000 delegates through our business in the next 6 months, that's 65,000 people who actually are making a difference. And this is the way in which we should actually be thinking as an industry.
Yeah, Joe, just got another question here for you. I hope you don't mind me jumping in, because I know you've got a couple more slides to work through. This is from Johanna Bahrain from Twickenham Stadium. This is on LinkedIn Live, so we're getting feedback from everybody. Joanna says, agree that delegates also need to have visibility of what we have agreed with the organizer. We are designing in-event signage, reusable, of course, and suggesting we can help provide info for any of the pre-coms that is sent out as part of the delegate registration. Now, I know, Joe, me and you spoke about this off air yesterday. It's not only doing these things, it's absolutely telling people that you're doing them and making that part of your strategy as well, that, this is a sustainable event. We're doing things the right way. This really helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely really does. So I think it's really important for us to understand that. And I think, again, explaining them, I do apologise, I've got an alarm going off.
Is that your alarm going off, Joe? It's gone. There you go.
So I think what is really important here is every step of the journey. So, as this is a masterclass, one of the things that we would advise and we give our venues the advice on is tell customers what you're doing. So, have signage at the buffet station that says, we've run out of chicken. Thank you for helping us reduce our food waste today. Explaining to them at that point why there isn't that dish left. It's not something to be sorry about. It's thanking them for helping you achieve your no waste objectives. I think explaining at buffet stations, explaining hydration stations, explaining some of the things that you're doing. If you tell customers why you're doing it, the biggest challenge that we have when people arrive in our venues and people actually attend an event, the biggest challenge we have is their expectations and when they don't get it. And, we've had a lot of customers who've given us some very specific guidelines around low calorie menus, around health and plant-based diets, etc. And then at 3:00 in the afternoon, the delegation are actually just wanting a bit of cake. So because we haven't set the scene. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We live and breathe in this industry, most of us who are probably on this call today. But actually, for a lot of our delegates, that's their once a year day out. Going to their sales conference, going to their big event, and food. We do surveys every couple of years at LVP, and 45% of the feedback from any event is around the food. So
yeah.
And very often, this is our venue feedback, but it isn't the venues who've decided what to feed the delegates. It's actually the event organizer. So we need to kind of really work together on that and set that scene.
But you know what, Joe? I think that's really important. As an event organizer myself, I think I would expect every venue that I work with and hire to tick the boxes in terms of there's a space, there's tables, there's a screen, and it's big enough. It's the small details like the food. So it's not, and I'm not just talking about the best food. I'm talking about sustainable food and about that what you're eating and you're making a difference. All these kind of, and not only food, it's other things as well. The sustainable way you run the business. It's these things that are really important. And these things, I would say this to everybody watching this show. These things are really important factors now that you absolutely should be thinking about and have on your agenda, because these are the differentiating things between you and another venue that hasn't got it, because they can all put a meeting on, they've all got the same size meeting rooms, but you could be the difference by being that extra factor. And I think this is what you guys are trying to do, Joe, isn't it? A line venue.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all in this together. we're all in this together. You choose a venue, you choose an agent, you choose an event organizer. You make those choices, and working together, we can absolutely do this. Event organizers have power as well as responsibility, and I think we all need to kind of work on that. The venue has power as well as responsibility, and I think if we work together on that and explain what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve, then we will make a difference. People don't rock up to do a bad job. I think it's the lack of awareness and understanding that is the biggest challenge that we face. And I think the education and working together on some of these great initiatives are where we'll land and ultimately just make a difference to the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple more questions, Joe, if I could jump in. So Celia Gaze, hello Celia. We are getting loads of inquiries from couples who want sustainable weddings, just to back up what you were saying. And then she also asked a question, Joe, for you. How do you perceive the importance of some of the sustainability accreditations? And she mentioned one called B Corp, and I'm sure there are a few others as well. Is that something that's worth investing in? Yeah.
Yeah, and back to the eco-anxiety piece. People making the right choices. We all do this, don't they? We choose things. We go on various websites and get feedback and see what somebody says about something before we buy a washer, before we book a holiday, and all those things. So I think accreditations are going to be absolutely crucial in terms of this. I think picking an accreditation that gives you the right opportunity to do the right things is massively important here. So there is going to be an awful lot of auditing around this moving forward. There is some new green code analysis going on, and the government have actually launched this. So, if you're going to say you're green, you're going to have to be green. As we
I was just going to ask you that, Joe. Do you think we'll get to a place where the government will kind of, specify that you have to have some accreditations and some things?
I'm not sure that they will specify anything that needs anybody to invest, and I think that's quite a difficult thing. I think what they will do is make sure that there is a thing called the Green Claims Code, which is launched in 2022 this year by the Competition and Marketing Authority, and that means that if you say you're going to do something and you say you are green around this, you actually got to be able to back that up, and I think that's really massively important. I think that's massively important for the people who do it well and right. And I think I think most of us would agree that we're not experts in this, and I put myself in that category, that I need help from an external source. I'm very fortunate at work. I get a lot of support from experts within my organisation, and that enables me to move forward and actually draw on great information, relevant, and up-to-date information, timely, all of that stuff kind of straight away, and know I can talk about that. It's very different, and I think across my portfolio, we know that we've got houses that are 100 years old, and then we have new build conference centres. So of course, it is obvious that the new build conference centre potentially is far more sustainable as a venue than the old house, but actually that's not going to detract from people wanting to be in a fantastic old house that actually can do. So it's doing what you can do. I think accreditations are going to be very, very important moving forward, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think what is really, really important is an initial auditing process for venues that actually tell them what they do need to do in order to do the right things in the right time, and actually offers support for that. And there are a number of accreditations that actually do that currently.
I'd say that, Joe, as well. What would be really useful as well, I think, for people who maybe aren't as up to date and know about this as much as like the likes of yourself do, is what steps to take, and what is the next, what's the first step you take, and then the next, and then how do you build this up? And I guess it's going to consultancies and speaking to people who do this professionally.
Yeah, the first thing that I guess my advice in terms of a venue and a business is, the first thing you'd really want to know is what you're doing right now and what that is measuring like, and then what you need to do forward. So it's an auditing process that gives you this is the starting point, and then understanding what you need to do from that. And there are a number of organisations that do that. There are also a number of membership organisations for the sector that are actually reaching out to their membership to offer support in this areas as well. And I'm on the board of the Meetings Industry Association, and I know we're working for our members to give them some member benefit in terms of that, and working with that to support them in terms of accreditation. So there will be other associations in our sector that will be able to offer that support to, I believe. Yeah.
Great stuff. So, Joe, I know you've got a couple more slides to work through. So, should we crack on with your next one, and then
I mean, to be fair,
I've got a few more questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we talked about the food reports, and again, the rise of plant-based, food and mental health, and food and COVID were important reports. And so, by downloading those, there is quite a lot of information around these hot topics, and also some really good references to people who, if you did need support in certain areas, there are some really good references to support from those. But this is actually a really, really the key message of the session today in terms of a masterclass, that you don't have to be an expert. You just really need to choose your partners well. So, if that is you choosing accreditations, but if that is just choosing a partner that actually understands your objectives, and if sustainability is high on your objective of your event, then making sure that the partner that you choose actually is the right partner to actually deliver that for you. Yeah,
and I know something, Joe, that without because you're on the show, but I know you guys take this super seriously, and this is a huge part of your strategy now, isn't it, going forward?
Absolutely. And back to kind of the initial slide, diet is massive, food is massive. It is the single biggest way to reduce our impact on the planet, is looking at food and sourcing of that. And this is about the land use, the water use, all of those things. But actually food is the other thing that just joins everybody up. So we will always tackle meetings, conference and events through the prism of food at Line Venue Portfolio, because we are part of Compass, and in all of our contracts it's about the food, the great food that we deliver. That is the element of a conference, meeting or event that happens at Line Venue Portfolio or any of our venues that we have control over. We're given the privilege of working in some absolutely amazing venues and work with some terrific partners and most of our partners, sustainability is high on the agenda. Johanna was on earlier from Twickenham, they're part of our portfolio, and that Johanna as a client is actually equally passionate about this. So, tackling the environment from Johanna's side, and then the food from a LVP and a Compass contribution side is huge on that. But we recognise that we can make a difference. We recognise that thousands of people go through our businesses on a daily basis. From a Compass point of view, we recognise that thousands of people go to football every weekend. Thousands of people will be attending the Six Nations rugby. Absolutely. And we can make a difference. And if that's just changing mindset slightly and delivering reliably sourced and local, and working on British menus from British produce, these are things that make a difference, and we know we can absolutely make a difference to the current climate challenge through the prism of food at meetings, conference and events.
Joe, so I've got a few more really good comments from people. I'm just going to go through these. These few here are from Donna Aberley. Hi, Donna. I hope you're okay. What steps do you take to reduce food waste as a venue? What can you advise clients and intermediaries to include in their RFPs? That's a really good question. To kind of put this on your RFP as well.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And the minute it gets to on an RFP will be the minute that all clients, general managers, owners of businesses will actually really take notice. So you want to get on that RFP, you actually want to quote for that piece of business, and it's massively important. Yeah. So I think that's a great thing. I mean, if you're an event, if you are a corporate event organizer, that would be a single thing that should absolutely could really, really make a difference.
Really make
in
a
terms
difference.
of reducing food waste, how we tackle this across our venues is we measure and manage our culinary teams on food waste. So that's massively important. So across different areas of the business, they get measured and managed, and there's lots and lots of different systems that allow you to do that. The other thing is we have a nose to tail, root to stem approach to food. So the food waste in terms of preparation of food is actually very, very highly considered. In terms of salads, in terms of preparation for vegetables, etc., etc. The biggest area that we can't actually massively affect is the portion control size. So, food waste off a customer's plate is really very hard to manage. So trying it, and again, touch points at service. Please only take what you want to eat today. Please help us achieve our our food waste targets. And it's almost explained to people, back to the point I made around COVID earlier. We look after, in elements of our business, we look after an awful lot of graduates and apprentices, and a buffet breakfast for them is absolutely hilarious. These are, young people going off to learn how to be a mechanic for, a fabulous car company. And on a morning, what they pile on their plate for breakfast is absolutely huge. And then but actually nobody needs 6 sausages at breakfast, do they? Or, 5 fried eggs. So, and what then happens is the food that's left on their plate is huge. So it's about education then. When we were actually doing portion control and when we couldn't allow them to help themselves and we were serving them, we would actually put 2 rashers of bacon, 1 sausage, 1 fried egg, we put that on a plate for them. So we were helping with portion control, which was in turn helping us from a food gross profit point of view. But also it was massively impacting food waste. People were not leaving; people were eating what was on their plate, and this is a part again of the education piece. So there are lots and lots of food waste measures. Like I say, the easy bit is the culinary bit, and we have hydration stations in many of our businesses where the peelings from yesterday's fruit and vegetables are put in the water today, which actually is really quite nice because you get the nutrition from the ginger peels and the orange peels and stuff like that was in the menus yesterday, and things like that. So quite important to look at that. But actually, a big challenge for our industry is actually what our customers actually take and the food that's left on their plate at the end of service.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some venues like ETs, I know etc. venues do that. They have usually people serving into bento boxes, so that they can manage the portion control. I know they've been doing that for a long time. Quick question from Veronica Brooms, a really good comment. Thanks everyone for the comments, by the way. It's really good to have all this interaction. This is exactly what we want in these shows, so thank you so much. Veronica says, useful points, Joe. The flip side of choosing accreditation is it can become an overwhelming thing for many SMEs. In my professional view as a sustainability consultant, a sustainability audit is the most appropriate first step, not to pursue accreditation. Audit allows for companies to know what they're doing well, and there may be appropriate steps. I guess there's more than 2 ways to do this, isn't there, Joe?
And you're absolutely right, because I wouldn't be wanting to get an accreditation from an organisation that didn't come in and do an audit for me and tell me what I needed to do and give me some absolute support and help in terms of what that looked like. So that's a really, really valid point.
Yeah, absolutely. Then here's the acid question, Joe, the $1 million question. The cost. Justine from Warwick Conferences, hi Justine, by the way, asks, do you think we can be charging more for sustainable menus? The question is, Joe, do you have to charge more? Can you do it the same price? Can you do it less price? What's your take on it? Or does it just depend on what you want to achieve?
I think there's a couple of ways of tackling this. So we did a survey before the meeting show when we launched our Future of Food report, and quite a high percentage of people said they would pay more for a sustainable offering.
Right.
But we absolutely recognise that when push comes to shove, is that really going to be the case? vegetables and fruit and things like that, actually the cost of those is significantly less than the cost of animal protein. But actually the skill it takes to turn those into fantastic dishes that actually are equal or not better than the original offerings that we used to offer in our world take quite a lot of skill. And actually that's a really nice point from a culinary point of view. A lot of our chefs, a lot of our apprentice chefs and our culinary teams are really enjoying the journey of trying to develop some of these dishes, 50% burger, 50% animal protein, 50%, vegetable protein, etc. You were with us at Excelnia when we just had a completely, absolutely sustainable menu. We were using local and we were using seasonal, and there absolutely was animal protein there, but that was more of a garnish. It was the champagne of the dish kind of thing, rather than the actual hero of the menus and things. So, these shouldn't be massively more expensive, but there is a cost to doing things well. And I think we've all got to kind of rise to that. Currently where we sit, where I sit in venues at the moment, the sustainability agenda is only one thing. Look at the cost of our utilities right now. Look at the cost of raw ingredients. So there is, to do things well, there is a price to pay. I think that people need to kind of recognize that, but I think there will always be the opportunity to look and choose menus and put more thought into it and put more thought around events and what you do. But I think we will be surprised. I think people will potentially maybe be doing less as we move out of the current situation, and actually be open to doing probably less people, but actually spending a little bit more money individually on that, and actually to do the right thing.
You said something good to me yesterday as well. How can we afford not to change and to kind of make these things that they cost a little bit more money? But actually, as Jan Dennings just said, measuring food waste as a KPI will not only support the sustainability policy, but will also supporting driving the profit as well, because less food and drink waste will protect and increase profit as well, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, there's a massive health and well-being aspect to this as well, isn't there? Plant-based diets are actually healthier for us, and actually portion control is one of the biggest challenges around dietary issues in the UK today. So supporting both those two things will actually help everybody. It kind of joins it all up, doesn't it? It's health and well-being as well as food costs and an overall cost.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for the comments, Joe. We've got about 10 minutes left. So, are there any last things you wanted to touch base on?
So I think, in reality, I think I'm just calling out to this industry, as we do through Delegate Wranglers, this is the opportunity for our industry to absolutely rise to the challenge around climate change. I mentioned we catered at COP 26 in Glasgow last year. At LVP, we've launched our Beyond Food report. So there's lots and lots of information. This is a masterclass. This is actually giving you some insight into how we arrived at our journey of meetings for change. And the future of food, our big survey that we launched at the end of last year, really does talk about the future of food, and it talks about the how we source food, farming of food, the building of menus, the absolutely local, seasonal input into menu choices, etc. But actually, we need everybody to be on this journey. And I think, as an event organizer, as a venue host, looking after your clients, we all need to be singing off the same hymn sheet here. We can absolutely make a difference. It's really important to remember we're not trying to turn everybody vegan on this. And the other thing I think it's really important where we sit, and in particular from a venue point of view, is we really don't want to be denying portions control. We don't want to be denying indulgence at events. We're here to offer hospitality, and hospitality has always been about doing things really well and great choice and fabulous food in great environments, and we shouldn't move away from that. What we're talking about today should absolutely enhance that. But also, if we take our customers and, you know, the wedding couple and their families and the event organizer and the you know, the corporate client who's wanting that event, and then the association or the charity that's got to raise money from a magnificent event, you know, if we bring them on the journey with them, there's a real feel good factor that we can actually have a massive impact on our industry, can really make a difference in the UK meetings, conference and events market today. And I think we can only do this if we join the dots up and we all do this together.
And, you know, shouting about it as well. I mean, it's just going to give you such a positive, you know, it's really timely at the moment. Everybody's been a bit more caring and a bit more think about these sustainable matters more, but not only just because it's a thing to do, like I mentioned earlier, you know, it's because it is actually doing some good. This is actually the right thing to do. You know, this will make you feel better. This will improve your well-being and also make your venue. I think as venue owners, you've got to be ready for this. If you're not already, you need to be taking some steps to have this in place. And if you're an event organizer as well, these are things that you maybe should be suggesting to your clients if they're not already suggesting it to you as well. But I know that Joe will put your contact details in the thread for this on the Facebook group and on the other channels as well, if that's okay with you. And then if anybody, you know, wants any more information on some of the things that you guys do, and, you know, or some of your venues, if any event managers are looking for, you know, those type of venues, they can get in touch with you, Joe. Is that okay? And I'll put some links to that to that report as well, because we covered it in a news article. So I will put a link to that on this thread as well, guys.
And, you know, and I think the final point is we don't all have to be experts on this. We just need to choose our partners well. So choose the people that you work with well in this arena, and then you can't go far wrong.
Yeah. Just very quickly, Joe, just a few more comments. Donna also tells us again to remind people that you can get involved with Food Waste Action Week, 7th to the 13th of March 2022. We'll try and put a link to that as well. Alex Piper says, just be mindful of pricing around those industries with compliance limitations, which is a good point. You know, pharma has price limitations, so I understand that, and compliance. Lots of things. Donna's Abley is asking, what 5 things could a planner be doing to help reduce food waste? Now, I know we haven't got time for you to answer that, Joe, but if everybody can maybe feed back into this, let's keep this thread going. And I would say to everybody who's watching, or either live now or afterwards, please contribute something to this thread underneath. And, you know, if you've got any comments or tips or things that you've learned or things that you do or things that you want to find out about, put it in there. Let's keep this conversation going. It doesn't end now. And the same on all the other channels as well. We'll try and keep that conversation going. But Joe, that's been an amazing session. I mean, the feedback's been off the scale. So, and everybody has stuck with it right the way through. So I think this will get a lot of views afterwards. But Joe, that's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Great. Listen, it's been really, really great to be part of the first one of 2022, Neil. So thank you very, very much.
Yes, kicked off in style. Thanks a lot, Joe. We'll catch up with you soon. So, guys, cheers, Joe. There you go. That is week 1 done. Wow. Without Dom, listen, let's all pray for Dom. He's having a tough time in the pub. He likes a drink or two. I'm only kidding. Dom, hope you're watching. He's going to ring me up straight after the show. I know he is, and give me a lot of stick. So what is coming up on the show next week? Callum, if we could run the slide. So we've got an amazing session next week. We've got Al Turner from 8PR, who's going to be giving us a masterclass on what's trending. So what's trending in the industry, and I'm going to bet that sustainability is going to be high up on the topic there as well, but as well as some technology things and all kinds of stuff. Then Tuesday the 1st of Feb, we've got a mindset masterclass with Laura and James Capel-Abra from Stress Matters. That's going to be amazing because, you know, we've all had our mindset challenge over the last 2 years. So that's going to be really good. And those two are just so positive that, you know, you're going to love that show as well. We've got an onboarding webinar on the 3rd of February with Diane, group guru of the Delegate Wranglers. So look out for that, guys. If you're new to the Delegate Wranglers or you want to recap, join our free onboarding webinar. Details will be on the group. And then we've got a recruit and retrain rebuild masterclass with Natasha Lale from Expo Case. So that will be really good as well, because honestly, jobs are coming out of our ears at the moment. So yeah, that'll be really interesting on how to keep, not only how to, if you're looking for a job, but also if you want to keep staff as well, because it's really super important at the moment. There's a lot of people moving industry. So yes, we've got an exciting few weeks coming up. I think that's it. Before we go, I'd like to say a big thank you to Dom, Callum, Ed, and the stream team. Also our friends at Event Case for registration services, and especially to our sponsors, our season sponsors, Melia Hotels and Inside by Melia. I think we've got a slide there we can show, maybe not. Here we go. Thank you guys. Check them out. We'll put some links on the chat as well. And yeah, that's us, I think, for another week. Don't forget to check us out on all our social media channels, to sign up for our Live Hive mailing list. I can't talk today. Mailing list. And yeah, we will see you next week when we're here with Al. So big thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody for watching on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. You've been amazing. The comments you've put in. Let's keep the conversation going, as I say. And we'll catch you next week. Thanks, guys.